Hello Year 4s, it's Miss Margetts here for your maths today. So we are continuing with our money units. So make sure you've got your maths book, a pencil, ruler and a rubber, and get the short date and the title into your books. So pause the video and get that one done. Okay, fantastic. So we're going to be discussing what estimate means in a minute. But before that, we will think about our learning powers. And today we're making links to our previous learning, not just last week or yesterday, but also in different years. And we're also being resourceful. You might find that flicking back through your maths book will help you today, but also being resourceful, and perhaps if there's an element that you're stuck with, maybe you could ask the teacher who is available on duty for you today. Okay, so let's think about our total recall to start with. We're going to start with the place value here and then moving on. So pause the video and then meet me in a second for the answers. Okay, fantastic guys. So we're thinking about the place value to begin with. What is the value of the underlying digit? Now let's have a look. What column is this number in? It's in the tens column, so therefore the value of the underlying digit is 50. The number is 7,654. Okay, and then we've got column addition. So remembering that for this one, I know that we will need to exchange. So let's start in the ones column, as always. 8 add 3 equals 11. So I need my 1 there, and then my tower of 10 moved over underneath. Then I've got 7 add 1 equals 8. Add this additional 1 here, and that equals 9. Don't forget to cross that one out so you remember what you've done. Then we've got 6 add 2, which equals 8. And then lastly, 5 add 2 equals 7. So I know that these two numbers added together equals 7,891. And lastly, money. Convert 639 pence into pounds and pence. Well, if I know that there are 6 pounds in 600 pence, because 100 pence is equal to 1 pound, I know that I've got 6 pounds and 39 pence. Do not forget your decimal point there, guys. You don't need to write pence either because we've already got our pound symbol. Okay, so we've got our key vocabulary, which you'll recognise is very similar to yesterday, but can you notice something which is different? And you're right, today, very key to what we're doing is to estimate. Now, what might estimate mean? What do you think it means? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, so to estimate means to guess, to use our well-trained rounding skills. But why might this be important? Why might this be an important skill when we're working or using money? Now, estimating is going to be a skill that you will use every single day, perhaps even without realizing. You might be in the shop trying to spend your pocket money and you're going to be rounding to find out if you've got enough money. So this skill is incredibly important and one that you're going to hone and improve throughout the whole of your life. Okay, so we've got a warm-up. Our first warm-up question says, place £1 and 5 pence on the number line below. Being very careful when you look after the decimal point here, guys, because we don't want to get that wrong. So it's £1 and 5 pence. Now, does £1 and 5 pence round up or down to the nearest pound? Well, let's start by placing £1 5 pence on the number line. Now, I know that 5 pence, because it's only 5 pence more than £1, it's going to be super duper close to the pound. Oh, I didn't want it quite there. Now, I'm presuming that each interval is worth 10 pence. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pence. So I would want my 5 pence to go directly in the middle of that first interval because it's showing me where 5 pence is. Now I need to think, does it round up or down to the nearest pound? Now using £1.50 as my midway point, because 50 pence is in between £1 and £2, or in between, halfway between a pound, then I know that £1 5 pence will round down to the nearest pound. If it's 50 pence or more, we round up, or if it's less than 50 pence, then we round down to the nearest pound. So for this one, I can visually see that £1 5 pence rounds down to the nearest pound. Okay, let's keep that in mind as we work through today. So we've got our first video question. Which whole pound does the given amount come between? And then round the amount to the nearest pound. So pause the video here, have a go, and then join me in a minute. Okay, so which whole pound does the given amount come between? Well, I've got £8.41 on my number line, so I know that one of those whole pounds is going to be £8. And then I know that £9 is the next pound. So up here I need to write £9. So round the amount to the nearest pound. Just as we said a minute ago, 50 pence or more, so my midway point around here, 50 pence or more, we round up to the nearest pound. And then if it's 50 pence, if it's less than 50 pence, then we round down. Now, because £8.41 is less than £8.50, then I'm rounding down to £8. So £8 is the amount rounded to the nearest pound. I'm rounding down. So give yourself a tick if you got that one correct. And we're moving on. So we need to match the amounts to the letters on the number line. Now let's make that a little bit bigger. Much better. So let's start. First of all, let's have a look at the intervals. Now I don't want to assume that these are just like they were before. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm thinking I know that I've got 10 pences in a pound. So therefore I know that each interval jumps up by 10 pence each time. So let's work out where my 50 pence is, my midpoint. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So here is my midpoint. Here is £9.50. Now let's start with A then. I know that A is going to be the smallest amount because it's closest to £9. Therefore, without already knowing that I need to convert this, I know that £9.28 will be A. Now I've got 937 pence. I know that there is 900 pence in £9, so I know that's going to be £9 and 37 pence. So, because this is the next smallest amount and it's less than 50 pence, I know that B is going to be 937 pence or £9.37. And lastly, I know that C, I can always check it as well, I can see that it's past 50 pence, it's greater than 50 pence, I therefore know that C equals £9.62. Give yourselves a tick if you got that one correct. Okay, so now we are going to match the items to the rounded totals. So I need to round these amounts to the nearest pound, either rounding up or down, and then I need to add them together and match them to the rounded totals. So give this one a go, pause the video and join me in a minute for the answers. So we'll do it step by step. I'm going to write A over here just so I don't get this too messy. So I've got 690 pence. I need to round 690 pence. So I could round it to the nearest hundred, or I could convert it into pounds and pence. So I know that 690 pence is equivalent to £6.90. So I need to round that one up because it's 50 pence or greater. So therefore this amount is £7, rounded up to the nearest pound, and then I need to work out £1.08 rounded to the nearest pound. I will be rounding down to the nearest pound. I could picture that on a number line, I could try and plot it on a number line, and it'll be closer to £1 as opposed to £2. So I would have £7 add the £1, which is equal to, so 7 add 1 equals 8. So therefore £7 add £1 equals £8, and I will match that A to £8. Okay, let's go for B. Now, as we said before, 150 pence, or £1.50 if converted into pounds and pence, would round up to £2, because if it's 50 pence or more, then we round up. So we have £2. Then what we need to do is we need to add to the cost of this pizza. Now this is a very cheap pizza, which makes me very, very happy. I need to round £3.26 to the nearest pound. Now look at this 26. Is that greater or less than 50 pence? I know it's less than, so I am rounding down to £3. £2, add the £3, so the cost of the cupcake with a pizza, that comes to the rounded total of £5. So let's match that one, so let's match B to £5. And lastly, let's look at C. So the cost of the dole, I need to find out the rounded amount. So £5.85. £5.85 rounded to the nearest pound, I am rounding up. So I know that costs £6 to the rounded amount. Lastly, I've got 55 pence for the cost of a pencil. Don't be fooled by this, guys. We need to be careful. Remember, 50 pence or more, we are rounding up. So 55 pence rounded up to the nearest pound is £1. So I've got £6, add the £1, that equals a £7 rounded total. So I need to match that one from C to £7. Guys, give those a tick if you've got that correct. If there's anything you're unsure of, please remember to ask the teacher on duty. Okay, last question before you move on to the sheets using the sway document. 8A. Jenny wants to buy a new game which costs £5.13 and a new book which costs £3.82. Which whole pound does each amount round to? And then she has £12. How much change will she receive approximately? So approximately is just another word for estimating. Okay, so it's around how much will she get. So let's start by rounding each of these amounts to the nearest whole pound. So £5.13 rounded to the nearest whole pound. Well, I will be rounding down because the pence is less than 50. So she will have £5 costing for the new game. And then I need to do the same for the cost of a book. Now the book costs £3.82. Because we are rounding, we are estimating, I will be rounding up to the nearest whole pound, which is £4. Now I need to add these two amounts together, which costs £9. Then I need to find the difference between £9 and £12 to find out how much change she will receive, approximately. Now I know that I can count up from £9 to £12, count with me, 10, 11, 12. So that's £3 change that she will get, approximately. Oops. Okay. So there we have it. We've broken that down into 2 steps. Now you're going to be moving on to the sway document now, where you'll find your tasks. If you found this pretty easy, then I would like you to challenge yourself to do the first sheet and then move on to the extension. But if you're thinking, oh, Miss Nuggets, I'll just take this a bit slower and really try and smash that first sheet, then that will be the one for you to do. So pause the video, join me in a minute for a pit stop. Okay, fantastic, guys. So we are going to be thinking about what amount the arrow could be pointing to. So on my number line, I've got 500 pence and 600 pence, or converting that to pounds and pence, I've got £5 and £6. Now, what I will do first is find my midpoint. And like we've said earlier, my midpoint when using pounds and pence is 50 pence with this number line. So hereabouts, thereabouts, the estimate, this is my midpoint. Now, I can think again, what's halfway between this amount here, my 500 pence, and my 550 pence, or £5.50? Well, that would be 25 pence here, if I'm thinking about quarters. So I've got 50, or 550, and then 525, or £5.25. So here, I want to add my unit of measurement there, sorry folks. Here it's just less than 25 pence. Okay, so this one could be around 520 pence, £5.20. Explain why. So the arrow is pointing to less than a quarter, so less than 25 pence of the way along the number line. So the amount must be less than 525 pence or £5.25. The price could be between roughly £5.10 and £5.20. So that's a good way of using the number line to help us understand what is represented here. Okay, now well done guys, we're going to go for our plenary now. So if you finish the sheets, great job, this is our last question together. So let's find the approximate total for these items. Now once again, we are estimating, we are rounding to the nearest pound. So, donuts, lovely. This is making me hungry. £5.63 to the nearest pound. I am rounding up, so this will be £6. And I've got lots of lovely eggs there, which cost £1.76, but I need to round up to the nearest pound. It's 50 pence or more, so therefore the rounding is £2. So £6 add £2, the approximate total, the estimated total is £8. And then we've got £3.05 for this fizzy pop or whatever it is. I need to be looking at the cost, which is £3.05. The nearest to this, and being very careful of those two digits after the decimal point, I know that this will be rounded down to the nearest pound. Imagine it on a number line, on a number line, and that's £3. Then lastly, I've got a box of yummy chocolates or something, which cost £11.54. Remember, 50 pence or more, you are rounding up to the nearest pound. So therefore, that'll be £12. £3 add £12 is £15. So the approximate total is £15. Fantastic effort today, guys. If any of these you found tricky, you can either go back through the video or you can ask the teacher on duty for help. We are super impressed. The end is in sight, you lovely ones, so just this last final push and then we'll all be back together. We can't wait to see you. We're so proud of each and every one of you. Keep it up, guys. Take care. Bye.